Welcome to another new construction tour at an absolutely beautiful neighborhood here. One of my favorite builders, Taylor Morrison. This is Siena by Taylor Morrison in Winchester, California. You've actually got a few different communities built in here, so we'll explore those in future videos, but a great area with a pool and park and playground, great amenities and great prices. I can't wait to show these models off to you because I absolutely love what Taylor Morrison does here. Let's check them out. Hey guys, I'm Andrew Lewis, your local Temecula Valley realtor, and this channel is dedicated to all things living in the Temecula Valley, from new construction tours to neighborhood spotlights to new things coming here to the valley. I want you and your family to know exactly what it's like living here. Before you make the move, let's dive in. First up, we have the 6C floor plan here. This is a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 2,429 square feet. Let's get inside and check it out. First thing that I love inside this home is this kitchen. So it's got open into the dining and living area, plus a ton of countertop space. You've got there, you've got your coffee area here, you've got a big island with 3 stools at it, and then countertops that run the entire span of this back wall here. You've got plenty of space for cooking. One of my favorite features inside of this home upstairs is that you've got the master bedroom on one side of the house and the kids wing on the other side of the house. On either side here, you've got 2 bedrooms and a bathroom just behind me, so keeps things separate with a little loft in between for some privacy. Next up, we've got the 8A. This is a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 3,008 square feet home. So one of the bigger ones here. Let's check it out. One of my favorite features inside of this home is right off the entry. We've got the entry door right here, is this open area right here. This can be used for an office, a kid's playroom, homeschool area, you name it. You've already got a main floor bed and bath just on the other side of this. So this is an extra space that you can use for just about anything you need. Favorite feature number 2 here is a massive loft. Check this out. There is room for a table and chairs, homeschool, whatever you want to do right here. And all the way over here, you've got room for a gigantic sectional, a big TV, tons of natural light. This room is absolutely massive. You need to see this in person. So that's it for our tour of the beautiful models here, Siena by Taylor Morrison. I really love this builder, and I'm sure you can tell from just watching that. The design is beautiful, the floor plans are fun, and it just feels a little bit different than what we typically see in the area. And so now what we do is we come back here and we break it all down for you. A little bit about the community, some of the pros and the cons, talk to you about some of the pricing of the models that we just looked at, as well as things to expect when it comes to buying a new home. So I want to break that all down for you so you know exactly what to expect when you move here into this community. Obviously, you might have fallen in love with the home, but we want to tell you exactly what to expect before you actually make that move. So let's start with some of the pros to living inside this community. I will say great amenities, and we'll talk on those here in just a little bit, but a big concern of a lot of buyers is paying a huge HOA fee and then not getting a ton back for that HOA. Here within this community, you do actually get some bang for your buck when it comes to actually paying that community HOA fee. So I see that as a huge pro, as well as the size variety within the home. So this community actually offers 3 different communities that are being built. So you can have homes from 1,900 square feet all the way up to 3,300 square feet. So, you know, if you're looking for just the smallest size home and a little bit more of a starter home, you've got that option here, or you've got a mega family or some multi-generational living, whatever it is, or you just really love a large home, you've got that option here within the community too. So this is a neighborhood you could move up within, you could move down within, and provides a little bit of something for everybody. So those are some of the pros to living here in the community. Now let's talk about a con, or just something to be aware of when it comes to this community, and this one is location. It's not my favorite location. You're in French Valley, and you're actually pretty far from a freeway. If you are a commuter, you're talking 15 minutes at a minimum to get to any freeway before you sit in traffic on the freeway to get to where you're going. So location-wise, it's kind of a headache if you're a commuter. There's not a whole lot of shopping there. Like you're kind of taking what feels like back roads to even get there. So over time, I expect the area to be a little bit more developed. There's gonna be a ton more housing that gets put out that direction, but this is kind of the first community being planted there right now. So it just feels remote, feels a little bit further out. So you're not gonna be super close to shopping, you're not gonna be super close to those freeways, and kind of that remote feeling. So that's just something to take into consideration. It's why the homes are priced the way that they are, which is something we'll discuss here in just a bit as well, but you're gonna sacrifice location just a little bit. Next up, let's talk about those amenities that I mentioned. And so you are actually getting some bang for your buck. You're not just paying just a fee to have the exterior maintenance done on the community. You're actually going to get a park. So if you've got little ones that love to play around, you've got a park and a playground for them here inside the community, somewhere for them to run around and get rid of all that crazy energy. I've got kids and I definitely appreciate that if I could just send them off to go run out some of that energy rather than it being inside of my home. You also get a pool. So community pool going in here, and that is a huge pro as well. So as we all know, or maybe you don't, a pool in Southern California right now, just the most basic pool, like flat pool and spa, you're talking $100,000 at least right now. And then if you're gonna add any sort of water features, things like that over time, you could be pushing 150 to 200,000 pretty quickly with a pool. So a community pool is a huge deal for you. It's not private in your own backyard, and yes, you have to share it with your neighbors, but you're not actually having to pay a huge dollar amount for that. So community pool is a huge advantage for the community. Now let's talk about taxes and HOA. So this is kind of the nitty gritty of what's gonna go into your monthly payment. So there's all sorts of mortgage calculators out there that will tell you the principal and interest, but what they leave out most often are your taxes and HOA. So when it comes to this community, the tax rate is 1.85%. And now that may mean absolutely nothing to you, but rates for taxes here in our area vary greatly. They can go anywhere from 1.1 to 2.2, 2.3%. And so this is kind of on the mid to high range as far as tax rate. And now what does that mean practically for you? Take the home purchase price, which we'll discuss here in just a moment, take that, multiply it by that tax rate, and then divide that by 12. That's what's gonna go into your monthly payment as far as what you'll be paying towards those taxes every single month in your actually monthly mortgage payment if your lender chooses to impound that number for you. So that can sway your payment several $100s. You could go just down the road and buy a home that's a 1.1% tax rate, even for the exact same price, and you could be spending less per month. So that's something to consider, but those tax dollars aren't wasted dollars, regardless of your politics, but it does actually go back into the community, and especially for an area like this where, again, I mentioned that the location is a little remote. There's not a whole lot going on there. Those tax dollars are going to go into schools and roads and parks and fire departments, all that kind of stuff that this area of town is going to need over the future. So I would look at that as like investing in the future of your community, which they're priced really well right now because there's not a whole lot going on in the area. But over time, as things get built up, your tax dollars go to work, you're gonna start to see some improvements come that are gonna up your price. So I think that's a really good pro for you, even though the tax rate is on the mid to high side. Now let's get to the HOA payment. That payment is just $112 per month. That is a lower HOA payment for the area, especially for getting some amenities. There are plenty of communities here on our area that are $100 to $200, $250 per month, and you actually get nothing for that. So you're getting that park and playground and pool as an added benefit along with that HOA, who's also going to make sure that your neighbor doesn't paint their house gold and purple because they're a huge Lakers fan. So that is a good price for an HOA that actually comes with some great amenities. So now let's move on to pricing for the community here. I know you've been dying to get to this, so let's break it down. A couple quick caveats as far as pricing goes. This is current pricing as of today. So this is probably not what they actually cost by the time you're watching this, because new construction goes up in price every single phase that these homes are released. So they release a batch of 5 to 10 homes, they sell those, they increase the price, they sell another 5 to 10. They sell that, they increase the price. So expect that these prices may be a little bit higher by the time you're actually interested in inquiring on these homes. If you'd like up-to-date pricing on these houses, pick up the phone, give us a call. Our number is listed here, as well as you can schedule via a Zoom link, and someone from my team will be happy to walk you through exactly what's left with the community and give you all sorts of information from there. So feel free to reach out. And lastly, when it comes to this price, these are base prices. So this does not include lot premiums or upgrades or things like that you might do to the home. So keep that in mind. It's kind of just the starter price. Yes, you can get it for this price, but you're not doing any single upgrades, and you're just getting whatever lot they have available. It's not the beautiful corner lot with the view that you've been looking for, okay? So keep that in mind. So let's start off with the Plan 5. We did not get to tour this one today because they don't actually have it modeled, but this is a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom, 2,021 square feet. It is currently going for $631,000. Next up, we've got the Plan 6. That was the first one we saw on our tour today. The 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, if you remember, 2,421 square feet, is currently selling for $665,000. Plan 7 was also not modeled. That's a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 2,709 square feet. That is going for $681,000 currently. And last but not least, the granddaddy of them all here for the Rosa community, it is the Plan 8, 5 bedrooms, 3 baths, 3,008 square feet, $721,000 currently. Now let's talk about solar panels. So if you're buying a home here in Southern California, new construction anyways, it's going to be required to come with solar panels, whether you like it or not. So it's actually a requirement, and the builder actually has a pre-negotiated deal with a solar company already for you. So the solar panels, you've got 2 different options that you can use to put solar panels on your home. Number 1, you can do a lease. This is a fixed monthly payment, does not fluctuate for you, and you're basically just leasing the panels like you would a car. You don't own them. The company maintains and takes care of them for you, and they're up on your roof for 20 to 30 years, depending on the length of that contract, and you generate the power using those panels. And at the end of that, they come remove those panels. So you've got the lease option, or you have the purchase option where you actually own the panels. They put them up there, they're yours forever. Now, there's a price difference between the two, and we're going to explain that a little bit here for you. So when it comes to a lease, depending on the size of the home, if you've got the smallest one, you'll be the lowest number. If you've got the largest one, it's gonna be the higher number. But the solar panel lease is $110 per month on the small side, all the way up to $185 a month on the large side. So that's basically just goes into an extra payment for you. You're gonna pay directly to the solar company, $110 to $185 per month. Now that's not going to cover your entire electric bill typically. These are just a supplementary set of panels. You can always add more after you move in, but expect that to be $110 to $185 depending on the size. Now, the other option is to purchase these, and this is a much larger number, obviously, but you've got the option to purchase for $18,000 for the smallest system, all the way up to $25,000 for the largest system. Now, you might ask, why would I go for that versus the lease? If you can, I'm going to say the best advice I can give you is to make the purchase rather than the lease for two different reasons. Number one, when it comes to selling a property with a solar lease on it, it's a little bit harder. You have to get a buyer who agrees to take over that lease payment, or you can pay it off, but the buyer also has to agree that in 20 years that those panels are going to come off their roof, whether they like it or not, because that was just the contract signed. So a little bit harder on the lease side of things. The purchase side of things, you own them outright. And that makes the transfer a little bit easier when you go to sell the home. But reason number two that you would want to go with the purchase is that you are actually going to get a tax credit when you make that purchase. So the monthly payment actually ends up being about the same, because when you purchase the panels, they just throw that into the sales price of the home. It's chopped up over 30 years if you're doing a 30-year fixed mortgage. And so the payment is roughly the same. You're not going to see a huge difference. And so you get the same payment, you own the panels, and you get a tax credit on top of that. So if you can afford it, if your pre-approval allows it, I would always do the purchase and finance those panels if you can. If you're at the tip-top max of your budget, then go ahead and go for the lease option. It's not a bad option, but it does come with those panels being removed long-term. So you'll get to choose those two, so think about it before you actually make the purchase. All right, so let's move on to the schools for this community. And this is actually a huge pro for the community, so I probably should have thrown it in at the beginning, but this is a pro for the community because you are located in French Valley, and you are actually going to get to take advantage of Temecula schools, which are some of the top rated schools in the area. So huge pro. Again, location is a con, but huge pro, you actually get to take advantage of a really great school district and some high rated schools. So if you've watched these videos before, we use greatschools.org. They've got a grading system 1 to 10, 10 being the best, to let you know how these schools are ranked based off of reviews and test scores and all that goes into it. So we typically see schools rated in our area like a 7 or above, and all 3 of the schools that your kids will attend here in this community will attend a 7 or above school. So really, really good news for you. So if you've got an elementary age student, they will be going to Susan Lavorna Elementary. That is rated an 8 out of 10 on the greatschools.org chart. If they are going to middle school, you've got Bella Vista Middle School that is ranked a 7 out of 10 on greatschools.org. In high school, getting the highest score of all, Chaparral High School, you're going to get a 9 out of 10 on greatschools.org. So I can't really stress enough the advantage to this school system for where you're going to be living. So if you go just a bit up the road into Winchester, you've got some maybe a little bit more affordable homes, just slightly in kind of equal type location. You're actually looking at schools that are like 5 and below. So you've got a similar area, but you get a really great school system. So huge benefit to you. I would not be concerned at all with sending my kids to any of these schools. All right, let's wrap this up with the 2 tips about buying new construction. And I might even throw in a third just for fun. So number 1, when it comes to buying new construction, very, very important, you need to choose your representation, that's us, to come in with you on your very first visit to this community. I do not work for the builder. I work for our company, Performance Real Estate. We run a local team here in the area. So I'm not just giving you this information for fun. It's because we'd love the opportunity to represent you in this transaction. But it's very, very important that you take us with you on your very first visit. Why? Because if you go in without, you're actually waiving your right to representation, and you end up using the sales office as your representation. Guess who pays the sales office's paycheck? The builder, who they are also representing. That's called dual agency in the state of California, which may become illegal in the future. So if the state of California doesn't think it's a good idea, you shouldn't either. You wouldn't want a divorce attorney representing both sides. It just can't be done fairly. So choose your representation. Take us in with you. We usually are compensated directly from the builder, and it does not impact you guys at all as far as what it costs for you to purchase that home. So schedule an appointment with us. We will go in there with you, but you have to do that before you ever set foot checking out these models. So very important there. Number 2 is the builder's lender. So you will be forced to cross-qualify with their lender even if you have your own approval. And why is that? Well, number 1, they want to make sure you're actually approved to actually buy the home before they start building that process and make sure that you can afford it. but they also are going to offer you some incredible incentives to buy the home while using the builder's lender. So they're going to offer you closing costs, appliances, all sorts of things. Could be some interest rate buy down. It varies depending on what's going on with the community at any given time. We can get you up-to-date information on that if you give us a call, but that will vary. But if you use the builder's lender, you're going to get some really great incentives. And we've got a really great local lender here that we recommend on everything. But your lender's just not going to be able to compete with what the builder is going to be able to offer you for using their in-house lender. So the experience isn't the best. They know they've got you kind of by the hook because they, maybe threw $10,000 worth of closing costs in front of you and $10,000 to use a lender, or maybe have a rocky experience. They know you're just going to stick with it. So it's not always terrible. Some of them are really, really great. So I'm not insulting every builder's lender, but they're usually pretty busy and a little bit slower on the service side, but that's okay. Just be prepared that you're going to use that. And then lastly, just kind of a third tip when it comes to new construction, maybe you know, maybe you don't, your backyard's just dirt. It's just gonna be a dirt lot, okay? So that's something you need to budget for. You're gonna need to budget for some money to put in a backyard over time. Otherwise, this is gonna be dirt. You're gonna get like a little concrete stoop to step out of your back door, and that's it, okay? So you're gonna have to do all the landscaping on your own. And then also along with that, there's no window coverings inside the house. So day number one, you're gonna move in and you're gonna go to sit down on your couch and watch the TV you just set up, and you wanted to get in your jammies, and you realize that your neighbors can see directly into your home. Be prepared. Day number one, you wanna get a blind company in there to put up some blinds or some drapes, whatever you do. So just expect those two things when it comes to buying new construction. All right, guys, so that is it for our breakdown of these beautiful models. Siena at Taylor Morrison in French Valley. Beautiful homes, great builder. Again, one of my favorites. They do a really good job with their design work. And you've got a really great price for what you're getting home-wise. You get some great schools, some really great amenities to come along with it. All of those awesome things, if you can deal with where it is location-wise. And again, over time, I think that's gonna get a little bit better as well. So a cool community to check out. If you guys would like some additional details, feel free to give us a call, schedule a Zoom link, and our team will be there right away to assist you. If you enjoyed today's content, do me a favor, hit that like button. Leave a comment below about any questions you have about moving to the Temecula Valley or what you've got questions wise as far as current updated pricing. Leave those comments below. We monitor those daily and we'll get right back to you. And as always, do us a favor, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future content. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and we'll see you next time.